Do you remember an experience where you were enjoying it so much, so deeply, you were so in love with what you were experiencing that you did not want it to end? You simply wanted it to last forever. And while you were in that experience, in that feeling, it did feel like it lasted forever. And as it was coming to a close, or probably after it closed, you felt like it would have been so beautiful if this just went on forever. I believe many of us have had at least one experience in our lives that's felt like this. And for the lucky people, they've had a lot more experiences like this. And this experience is what true abundance feels like. And at the higher and higher levels, this is what I describe as the sublime. And the sublime is truly just encountering the state of absolute bliss and pleasure, where you're so deep in bliss and you're experiencing such immense pleasure, such pure pleasure. It's not this hedonistic pleasure only. It can be related to a material experience, absolutely, but the pleasure is much deeper. The pleasure is at a spiritual level. And what I want to talk about is not just having a sublime experience once in your life or a few times in your life, but about actually living in the state of the sublime, which is what I describe as heaven on earth, that's embodied in you and that you can create outwardly in all your creations, whether it's business, whether it's art, whether it's real estate, property development, music, whatever it is that you're expressing, when it's expressed from a state of the sublime, you create a sublime experience. And I want to talk about it from the angle of contrasting it with speed. Because the state of the sublime, the state of pure abundance, you only truly enter it when you are in infinity and eternity. Like that is true abundance, that there is no limit of space or time. And when you enter this state, and everything I'm talking right now is like, don't try to understand this with your mind. Feel it. Feel it by trying to go in back to an experience you've had of the sublime, of the infinite, of the eternal, or even if you can't remember that, it's just feel into my words more than trying to think about these words. The when you are in this state of absolute abundance, that there is zero constraint on resources, and you are not even thinking in terms of constraints or limits at all anymore. It's just like you truly have all the time in the world, all the space in the world, all the energy in the world, all the resources in the world to do what you want. When you enter that state, your entire thinking changes, the world changes, the way you look at life changes, your priorities change entirely. When you're in the realm of limits, for example, let's take age. We have this construct of we have 100 years to live, right? If you're lucky, we are in good health, we have 100 years to live. If we really take care of ourselves, we can maybe stretch to 120. And on average, we probably have 80 years to live. But let's just go with 100. It's a nice number. Let's say you have 100 years to live. If you stay in the consciousness of time and age and death. Like death consciousness is a pretty deeply explored topic. A lot of people talk about, like, staying conscious, staying aware. that you have limited amount of time on this planet in this life and to make the most of it. And when you live with this consciousness, with this awareness of, yeah, I have, let's say, 100 years, and I'm, let's say, 55, I only have 45 years to go. I really want to make the most of it. I don't want to be wasting my time. And I really want to maximize my experience and my impact in the world. That's one state that can make you very productive, and it's been studied, and it's a great mindset to have, that you are really in optimizing your life and you're not wasting time. But to understand that that state still comes from a place of scarcity, from a place of limits. You are maximizing your life because there's a limit on how much life is available. And what I want to present to you is that in the sublime, you're maximizing your life not because you have limits. So your priority goes from I'm maximizing for limits, I'm optimizing for limits, versus I'm optimizing and maximizing for pleasure and joy. And this changes the game entirely. And to go a bit deeper into this, the the sublime, this abundance, is a feeling of pleasure and joy constantly in everything that you're doing. It's like you're literally in heaven, on earth, every single moment. And you are maximizing to keep that experience going. But it's not maximizing from this mindset of productivity. So, again, it's about, I want to maximize pleasure because that's what it's all about. Like, that's my priority. But it's not from this place of craving, because there's no scarcity of pleasure. You're already experiencing pleasure, it's already heavenly. It's like, and it can become even more. And that's when you start tuning into higher and higher frequencies. And that's what I also call the crystalline frequencies, because in the crystalline frequencies, you're going into the super high frequency, high precision. It's this ultra precision frequencies where the smallest tweaks just make your experience even more sublime. It's this super fine tuned experience of life that can only happen when you have the space and the time for excellence, for mastery. And so these are the priorities in the sublime, are mastery, excellence, joy, pleasure. But when you're in the scarcity mindset, when you're in the realm of limits, you're optimizing for completely different things. You're optimizing for time. There are trade offs that you're making. You are making compromises because is it really worth spending an extra month on this minute detail if I only have 45 years more? No, it actually doesn't make sense. Your priorities are completely different. And speed becomes something of relevance. You want to go as fast as possible. If you gain a month versus losing a month, it makes a huge difference. If you gain a year versus losing a year, it makes a tremendous difference when you are speaking about 45 years. It's like in 45 years, losing a year versus gaining a year is actually a difference of 2 years. That's a big ratio. 2 out of 45. It's a massive difference. But if we change the game completely and we are talking about eternity, true eternity, you are the soul who has infinite time and infinite lives to fulfill your purpose, to fulfill your mission, and to experience higher and higher levels of soul, higher and higher levels of life. When that is the game that you're playing, you are still maximizing the human experience, because if you're not truly having a heavenly experience on earth. If you're just stagnating, if you're just wasting time, which is what we're talking about in the contrast of limits with age, it's like if we are wasting time, you're not actually experiencing heaven on earth. If you're just procrastinating and stagnating, like that's anyways not heaven on earth. So that's not truly a soul lived experience. But we're talking about being in a soul lived experience in the sublime frequencies of absolute abundance. The game is entirely different because the game is now about mastery and excellence. I can spend an extra month, an extra 6 months, an extra year, an extra 10 years refining my skills, refining my mastery, my excellence to really create the peak experience. Because if I lose 10 years in eternity or gain 10 years in eternity, it's irrelevant. If you go at the fastest speed in the universe, like let's say you even beat the speed of light, we come up with a way to travel at an even faster speed. You can travel at quantum speeds, like instant movement across the universe. Like that is literally the fastest speed, right? Like you can get to your destination instantly. You can cross space and time instantly. Like let's say we unlock that ability and it exists. Like I teach about this quantum manifestation, quantum leaps. Like these are actual things that we can experience through our soul. We can make quantum leaps into realities that we would never get to in this lifetime because the amount of time it would take to go linearly or even exponentially, we would never reach there. It's like linear is, we all know what linear is. You're going step by step by step. Exponential is taking that same journey but making it way faster, and you're able to reach places which you would never be able to reach linearly. But exponential is still being played on the same map. You're just reaching way further. You're reaching places that you would never be able to reach on the same map if you were going linearly, but you're still on the same map. It's like, let's say, if you're talking about linear is walking, so you can walk across America, but you cannot walk across the ocean. And you would have to make an exponential leap to go across the ocean, then go around the earth, and you can go very fast around the earth in a plane. You can take as many rounds around the earth and as you want in your entire lifetime, and you would never be able to do that walking. The amount you'll be able to cover walking across earth, like you literally can't, because there's an ocean. There are oceans dividing many of the land masses. So okay, that's linear versus exponential. But quantum, you go off map. Like this is what we're talking about, space travel, right? Like when you have wormholes, you have portals that can take you across the universe. You can enter an entire different galaxy. You can, if we have alternate universes, you can go to alternate universes. Anything is possible. So when we are playing at those speeds, it becomes, speed becomes irrelevant. You need to understand this. Like speed becomes absolutely irrelevant. If you can manifest anything with a quantum leap, then we are not playing in speed anymore. It's like, let's just say that it's possible that I snap my finger and I can have $1 million, and then I can have $10 million, and then I can have infinity $1 million, I can have $1 zillion. Money loses relevance completely, and it's the same with time. So the priorities change completely. The priority becomes excellence, it becomes mastery, and it becomes pleasure. I want to experience the journey now. And that's what this realm is all about. Because the higher realms, the sublime realms, the divine realms, time doesn't exist over there. Like literally, when we are in the God self, in the mind of God, like let's just imagine that you are in the mind of God. You can have instant manifestation of anything. You can make anything that is unmanifest manifest with the snap of a finger, like less than a moment. Less than a moment. It's faster than the speed of thought, is faster than the speed of light and life. It's like literally like God thinks and In the thinking is the manifestation. The manifestation is the thought. Like there is no time at all. So that's the God mind. But literally, if you can manifest every single thing that you can imagine, it loses its meaning completely. So, what does God do? It creates time so that it can experience the journey of manifestation. But again, if the journey of manifestation can be experienced with limitation and scarcity, or it can be experienced with pleasure, joy, and mastery and excellence. It's like I am actually using time to go through the journey. I I don't want to speed things up because I know that I can have the ultimate speed already. So why would I want to speed it up? I am actually playing the game of slowing down. Like this is the game that God is playing. God is playing the game of slowing reality down to truly experience the pleasure of every single moment, of every single experience that we can have as humans. And that is the human experience, is time. And that's the whole point here, is that this is meant to be experienced on earth as humans. This is not about transcending reality. We have come down from the divine realms to experience humanity on earth, to experience heaven on earth. Is not to experience suffering on earth that we've come here. Is not to learn spiritual lessons and graduate from spiritual school and reach enlightenment and graduate and go to nirvana. It's like that's where we come from. We come from nirvana. We come from the unmanifest where anything can become manifest without time. God came from there to become human and experience life in time, but not in rush, not in scarcity, not in fear, not in anxiety. This is the mind of God on earth. This is the frequency of heaven. This is the sublime frequency. Like this is what I teach, is experiencing and embodying heaven on earth, embodying the mind of God right here, right now. This is the beauty. And the thing is that when you let go of time and when you let go of trying to speed things up, paradoxically, you end up collapsing time because you have exited time once again. You're not operating in time anymore. You're operating in excellence. You're operating in precision, in pleasure, in these frequencies. And in those frequencies, things happen very quickly because when you're working with excellence, when you're working with mastery, you're playing at levels that you do end up manifesting all the things that you can imagine. Because these are the things that are very rare on earth because everyone is playing the opposite game. Everyone's playing the game of scarcity, everyone's playing the game of limitation. And if you are suddenly playing the game of abundance, but truly playing it, we're not just talking about abundance, and it's not just having a lot of money, but it's you can have a lot of wealth, but you're in the realm, in the frequency of the sublime. Because you can have a lot of wealth and you can be completely depressed and like anxious and neurotic and compulsive and obsessive and feel all the obligations in the world. You're carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders. I know exactly what that feels like. I've been there. And today I can truly say it's like my shoulders feel so light, because I'm not carrying the world on my shoulders anymore. I'm not doing this for any egoic purpose nor for any social service. Like this is my soul's mission, my soul's purpose is to truly experience pleasure of heaven on earth. And teaching that to others is also my joy, is also part of my soul's purpose and mission. But I don't do it as a service out of this self-sacrifice and modesty, and like I'm such a saint, and I like this is not about me at all. It's like no, I do it because it's absolute pleasure. I absolutely love it. I wouldn't be teaching others if it was not my joy. I would be doing something else. And I do imagine at some point that's going to happen. Like I know at some point I want to make movies. That's the way I want to have impact in the world. But that's the thing, is that I'm doing it because that is the sublime pleasure that I experience. And this is what you can discover in yourself. But for that you have to become the one who is creating pleasure all the time in everything that you do. You're entering the state where you're experiencing pleasure all the time in everything that you do. And that is a lot of inner work when you're coming from the realm of scarcity, limits, fear, anxiety, guilt, anger, shame, hatred, competition. Like, this is where most of humanity lives. And I have come from that exact place. I was one of the most competitive people that many people experience, and they found it really scary at times, really disgusting at times. I mean, I came from India. It's one of the most hyper competitive places in the world because for every single resource, whether it's a job or food or water or air or whatever it is, there are literally millions of people competing for every single resource. So if you are not competitive, or I mean that's the belief, if that is that if you're not competitive, someone else will replace you. Someone else will take what you have. So you have to be fiercely competitive. You have to be first fiercely protective of your territory, of your everything, because yeah, like people do unethical things, things out of integrity, out of alignment to take what you have, because that is survival over there. I mean that's the whole mindset is survival. And I grew up in that environment, not in the lowest of it and not in the highest of it. I was pretty average middle class. And there was deep competition. Like middle class, I think, is where you experience one of the highest levels of competition. And I know exactly what that feels like, to be in that anxiety, that scarcity, that there are only so many jobs available and there are so many people applying for it, and there's limited resources, and there's this and there's that. And my family history is also, like in the partition we lost everything, and we had to start from scratch in refugee camps. Like that's my ancestry. So like there's a lot that I have come from. So I understand these mindsets deeply, and like my biggest personal challenge was shame, deep insecurity about who I am, my identity, wanting to be invisible, not wanting to be seen, not wanting to take credit, and like and then also wanting a lot of credit, because that is the flip side of the duality. Is like the insecurity is like I need constant validation, constant people pleasing, like all of this. Like so, that's where I come from, and that's also realistically where a lot of humanity is. Even if you have a lot of money, you could still be experiencing all of this. I mean, that it's a pretty well-known fact. Like even at the highest levels, there's a lot of competition. There's a lot of anxiety, a lot of paranoia. Like especially when you become wealthier and wealthier, then you have even more paranoia because everyone's out to get you. Everyone wants something from you, and all of these programs are there. So like this exists at every single level. So does the sublime. The sublime exists uh, the guy, the monk who austere, yeah, for the austere monks who give up everything. I think there's a more specific word for it, but yeah, like the monks who practice austerity and give up everything, they can also enter the sublime, and so can the world's richest person enter the sublime. Because there is no condition to enter the sublime. It's not about how much wealth you have or don't have. This is the old paradigm of spirituality, that You have to give up everything to experience the sublime. Not if you want to experience the sublime right here on earth in material human form. Because that old tradition is about experiencing the sublime as a disembodied state in the spiritual nirvana divine realms. But this is about heaven on earth. And so it's actually important to be attached to human pleasures, to human desires. Attached not in an unhealthy egoic way, but in a healthy egoic way. It's like it's purposeful, it's meaningful. It's not I just want all the things in the world. I want things that bring me pleasure because there is meaning, because there's purpose, because there's impact. All of these become the priorities when we enter into the sublime. And there are lots of people who are interested in this and who talk about this and who do all of this from a very mental place. And these are the people that I'm talking to today, especially. Like, if you want to experience true impact from your soul, if you want to experience true pleasure, not from an egoic place, but truly from like, this is what life is about, this is for you. This is especially for you because this is easiest to access when you've somewhat come out of the survival, at least the basic survival of money and all of these things, and you may still be in other survival mechanisms of competitiveness, being replaced, losing everything, and all of that may still be there. People taking advantage of you. There's lots of survival programs even at higher levels. But at least if you've come over the basic survival, that's when it becomes easier to enter these realms. So if this is who you are, like this is exactly for you. This is the next stage. This is what the next part of the game is all about. So that's why I'm gonna close this. Obviously, if this has intrigued you, I welcome you in to reach out to me and let's get started in getting you to embody heaven on earth. This is the end of day 15, which is again unbelievable, incredible that it's only been 15 days. And then this is talking about time and speed and all of that. Like the amount that has happened in these last 15 days is unfathomable. The person who I was when I started this 15 days ago, you can go back and watch it and you'll feel the difference in the energy. I also started 3 weeks back. So I think it was just a week before I started this series of 64 days. I started a 5 week body work, uh, like 10 sessions, two or twice a week with this absolute magician who has been working on my body and helping me to release things from my body. And it's been 6 sessions now, and it's played a fundamental role in me becoming who I am. So when I'm offering the experiences that I offer, especially in person, I also incorporate that because there are some real magicians that I have worked with, like body magicians, who complement all of this because there's so much of these energies that are trapped in the body that unconsciously keep us held in realms that are completely in dissonance with the sublime. So, I mean, yeah, again, like just talking about the point of the amount that's happened in 3 weeks or 2 weeks is just absolutely phenomenal. This journey is going to be in total a 9 week journey, 64 days, and we're on the first day of the third week, so I cannot even wait to see what happens over the next 7 weeks. And for those of you who are keeping up with this journey, joining in between, leaving, coming back, wherever, I'm just very glad that you're part of this journey, bring your energy to it. So thank you for watching, and I will see you tomorrow on day 16 of 64 days of truth.